Switching gears, what I wanted to really talk about today was teams that I'm excited for. Teams that I'm like, yes, the NBA season's almost here. Some of these teams are potential title contenders. Some of these teams are just teams looking to make a deep playoff push. Some of these teams are teams that honestly might just be looking to make the playoffs and seeing what they have and then going on from there. I'm going to start in the Eastern Conference first. First team I want to talk about and it'll be kind of quick because I've talked about them. I did a whole video on them when they made their moves earlier in the offseason. I want to talk about the Atlanta Hawks. I've been a Trae Young, I'm going to say a Trae Young fan for the last couple of years. Not so much necessarily the Hawks as a whole. I'm going to keep it a B. But Trae Young as a player, I think is super talented. I think he's one of the most talented point guards in this league. And I think this Atlanta Hawks team is the best team they've put around him so far in his career. Looking at some of the pieces they added, Nickeil Alexander-Walker is going to be really, really big for them, I think. One of the best defenders in the league. Really switchable, could still knock down a three, could put the ball on the floor a little bit and score, especially in attacking closeout situations. Kristaps Porzingis, to me, he was the piece that made the Boston Celtics unguardable. I said that time and time again, especially the year they won their championship in 2022. Excuse me, in 2023. 2024? I'm tripping all over the place. They went in 2022. That's when the Warriors won. But when they won it in 2024, 2 years ago, to me, Kristaps Porzingis was the piece that made them special. Yes, the entire team was special, but having a guy of his height being able to really stretch the floor and also be a great rim protector still, it made them special. And if he can be healthy, now the big question is his health. Like, how much is he going to play for the Hawks? That's going to be a big question. But Jalen Johnson coming back healthy, Dyson Daniels. I got some questions about Onyeka Okongwu, only because if KP can't play a lot, Okongwu's going to have to play a lot of minutes at that 5 spot. Slightly undersized 5. We'll have to see how they do there. But this Hawks team can play a fast pace. Trae Young has cutters, and Trae Young has shooters. I didn't even mention Luke Kennard, great shooter. Zachary Richardson, who's coming off of a really good rookie campaign, looking to just get better in year 2. To me, this is the best team the Hawks have put around Trae Young. And I'm excited to see what he can do and what the Hawks can do together with this team. They got some questions, but I'm excited about it. Next up on this list, I want to talk about Desmond Bane and being added to Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic were one of the teams last year that got off to such a good start and then got hit with a lot of injuries. Paolo goes down, Franz goes down. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say even Jalen Suggs spent some time out of the lineup. They just had a lot. They got bombarded with a lot of injury. So I would already be excited for the for the Orlando Magic if they just same team, full healthy for a season. I would already be excited about it just because their defense is that good. Paolo and Franz are that good at getting downhill and scoring around the rim and getting to the basket, even with some of the worst spacing in the league. And then you had Desmond Bane, who is a guy who's one of the, I want to say it's like only, I looked it up. I saw a tweet. It's only 4 guys in the league who shoot over 6 3-point attempts a game for their career and shoot over 40%. Those guys are Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Michael Porter Jr., and Desmond Bane. Shoots 41% for his career on 6.3 attempts a game. Desmond Bane is a guaranteed sniper, but that's not all he's going to bring to this team, which I like. We've seen Desmond Bane take on a primary playmaker role. So when Paolo or Franz isn't on the floor, or they just want to have a different look and get the ball out of their hands, Desmond Bane can be that reliable guy to run an offense. He can reliably run an offense. We've seen him be a playmaker, especially in times when Ja had either been in and out of the lineup due to injury or off-court stuff, or honestly, even alongside Ja, we've seen Desmond Bane be a primary ball handler and in a couple of possessions here and there. He's going to be such a dynamic piece for them. But the real special part to me is a lot of times when a good defensive team like this needs some spacing or needs to add a shooter, they sometimes regress a little bit defensively. Desmond Bane is still a really, really good defender. They're not really going to miss a step in terms of their perimeter defense by adding Desmond Bane to this lineup. I'm not saying what the ceiling is for the Orlando Magic, but once again, just a team I'm really excited for. Next two teams I want to talk about are the two teams that I think most people have as their real title contenders coming out of the Eastern Conference: the Knicks and the Cavaliers. The Knicks have a lot going on for them. New head coach in Mike Brown. I'm still iffy on Tom Thibodeau being fired, but I do think Mike Brown is going to bring some freshness to this offense, and I think this team needed some freshness to this offense. Adding Jordan Clarkson is going to be huge for them. Some great and needed bench scoring. Remember, he won $6 million a year in 2021 when he first got to Utah. 36% on three, 36% from three on 6 attempts a game last year. And he's had some up and down years over the last couple of years. If you just go look at his year-to-year 3-point percentage, it's been up and down. But for his career, he's a better 3-point shooter than he is a worse 3-point shooter, if that makes sense. And I think that's one of the things this Knicks team needed last year was, to me, bench depth. Everyone talked about how Tibbs only played 6, 7, maybe 8 guys for most of his games, especially deep in the playoffs. But to me, when I looked at that roster, after like guy number 7 or 8, who else was he really putting on the floor to really want to get something out of? You know, like that team just wasn't deep at all, in my opinion. So adding Jordan Clarkson adds some legitimate bench scoring punch for them. Shout out to Deuce McBride. I know he can do that as well. But I think there were at times where they were asking even a lot of Deuce, and he wasn't even going to be able to give them more than what he was already giving them. And I think they can get some of that from Jordan Clarkson. Really a flamethrower off the bench. But I also think a big piece so a lot of people went on under the radar, but to me, because he was a former Sixer, I'm going to miss him a lot. Adding Guerschon Yabusele to this team, to me, is like adding a lesser version of Aaron Gordon to this team. I love the way Guerschon Yabusele plays. How I envisioned him on the Sixers, playing on the Sixers, and in the beginning of the season, how he looked next to Joel Embiid is exactly how I think he'll play and look next to and or backing up Karl-Anthony Towns for the Knicks. He can space the floor. He's a solid-ish defender. He can rebound the ball. He's smart on his cuts. Okay-ish passer, maybe not to the extent of an Aaron Gordon in terms of being a short roll hub, and maybe making some of those high-low passes like Aaron Gordon does to Jokic. But Cat can make that high-low pass to Guerschon if Cat's at the high post. Like, I really think they can play well together, and will have some really, really good synergy. I think he can back up Cat. He can be the backup 5 or the backup 4. And I think there's going to be times where he plays alongside Cat at either the 4 or 5 position to add some rebounding, especially considering Mitchell Robinson's injury history and his availability can sometimes be in question from a season-to-season basis. I think he's going to be a great fit. And I also think a lot of people are going to learn about Guerschon Yabusele and get to appreciate his game playing in a big market like New York that has a lot of eyes on it. Other team that a lot of people think, and myself included, have the best chance of coming out of the Eastern Conference, the Cleveland Cavaliers. And honestly, the most exciting thing, the biggest piece that I'm excited for the Cavaliers is I just hope they can have a healthy postseason. This past year, Garland's toe injury. The year before that, Donovan Mitchell and Jarrett Allen were injured. And then the year before that, back in 2023, it wasn't necessarily a big injury that they were dealing with, but it was the first year that Donovan got there, so they were still kind of figuring it out. And Jarrett Allen has the famous quote of "the lights were too bright." So this is now going in their fourth. This will be their 4th year together. Let's all be healthy. We know what our expectations are. We know our roles. We've continued to mesh together. I think this is a really, really good team. Donovan Mitchell is one of my favorite players in the league. I'm excited. And I even forgot to mention, if a healthy Lonzo Ball will greatly help their second unit. But it will also give Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland some reprieve when one of them isn't when they're not on the floor together last season. If it wasn't Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland weren't on the floor together and only one of them was on the floor, that one guy was responsible for 100% of the offense. Yes, granted, somebody else might take the shot. Somebody else might make the cut. But they were basically, the ball was in their hands 95% of the time when it was just one of them on the floor. Now, when it's just one of them on the floor, they'll likely be accompanied by Lonzo Ball, as long as Lonzo's healthy. And I like that for them. It gives them the opportunity to have some off ball reps without it just being both of them on the floor. And Alonzo, what we remember of Lonzo before the injuries and, he's coming back from this knee stuff, it had, didn't play a lot in the past couple of seasons. Lonzo's a good defender as well. So when it is just one of them on the floor, Lonzo's going to be able to potentially be able to take some of that point of attack defensive matchups and really guard the other team's primary ball handler. I think the Cavs, if healthy, are going to be excellent this season. They were excellent last season. They just got injured at the end of the season. Like, that's really been something. I mean, that just comes with NBA basketball, unfortunately. Injuries are part of it, but that's really held them back a lot not a lot, but a lot in the past couple of post seasons. And then I'm going to talk about a team that, on paper, when I really think about it, I'm just said, everybody, myself included, most of people's favorites coming out the East are the Cleveland Cavaliers or the New York Knicks. Where do people see the Milwaukee Bucks? I'm really interested in this because for two reasons. One, they've made some moves in the postseason, adding Miles Turner, getting rid of Brook Lopez, adding a Miles Turner. Very similar player. I've never fully bought Miles Turner's ability to stretch the floor. Yes, it's there for stretches, but it's not consistent enough, in my opinion. We'll see how he looks this year. But excellently defensively, just very similar to how Brook Lopez was. Can stretch the floor, similar to Brook Lopez. So I'm curious to see how well he fits, because in terms of play style, not exact 1-to-1, but it should be similar. Gary Trent Jr., adding Kevin Porter to this team, I find it interesting. I don't know if he's going to be a fit, especially because, right now I'm looking at CBS Sports depth chart for him. They got him listed at point guard. I think this is going to be a year where we see a lot of point Giannis, a lot of Giannis having the ball, just because the point guard room for this Milwaukee Bucks team, Kevin Porter Jr., Cole Anthony, a little bit of Gary Trent Jr. from time to time trying. Like, the point guard room is thin. Like, I don't like their point guard play. I don't like their playmaking that's on this team. And not a lot of it is there, in my opinion. But when I look at the Eastern Conference, the best player on the Eastern Conference going into the season is going to be Giannis. And technically, yes, Giannis is good enough that if he has an MVP caliber season, he can drag this team to a deep playoff run, to a high seed. It's not a bad team. It's not bad players on this team. I'm looking forward to seeing what Giannis does with this team. Because also in the same breath, there's been so many rumors swirling around Giannis. Is he even going to finish the season as a Milwaukee Buck? Because clearly this roster isn't great, and Giannis is still MVP caliber and can pull off that type of season and put on those type of performances. So usually if you're a player who can do that, you want to be on a team that has a chance to win a championship. And this roster, to me at least, it's not giving championship caliber. But anything's still possible because Giannis is on this team. But we'll see if he finishes the season on this team. And then last but not least, in the Eastern Conference, I'm interested in seeing what the Celtics look like. And yes, it sucks that Jason Tatum's not playing. I still don't think he's going to play at all this season. I know there's been some speculation that it seems like he's recovering faster than most people recover with their Achilles. The pictures and photos went viral of him walking without a boot earlier than a lot of people expected. I just saw him post on, I want to see either IG post or his IG story. He said like week 17 or week 19, and it was him in the gym, like lifting and working out again. And so some people are optimistic that maybe he comes sometime during the regular season or right before playoffs. And to me personally, unless it looks like the Celtics really have a chance to do something for real, I don't think it's worth it. In terms of risking the injury, I just don't think it's worth it. But I am excited to see, because everyone said, not as much lately, especially after he won Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown did, but so many people always wanted to see what Jaylen Brown looked like on his team. What does a Jaylen Brown led team look like? What does Jaylen Brown look like as the number one option? Jaylen Brown's better than Jason Tatum. So many NBA fans pit these two honestly great players against each other instead of talking about how they complement each other. But that's just unfortunately the way the human brain thinks. Look at negatives instead of positives. But I'm interested because this year will be an opportunity to see what a Jaylen Brown led team looks like. Uh, it's still honestly some question marks in terms of their uh, front court depth. Front court is looking real thin on that Celtics team, but adding Anthony Simons, I think, is pretty cool in terms of another guy who an offensive heavy guard, a ball dominant, not ball dominant, but a guy who can create his own shot, score off the dribble, but also a really high volume, high percentage 3-point shooter who fits their style. Over the last 3 seasons, he's been over 7 3-pointers. Over the last 3 seasons, Anthony Simons, 7 3-point attempts a game, 37%. High volume, high efficiency, fits into their system. And we'll get this opportunity to see potentially and at least think about how Anthony Simons can fit when Jason Tatum's back. And now it's Anthony, Tatum, and Brown all playing together. They got to figure out what to do in that front court, though.